Hi, I'm Frank A. Lancio. On behalf of the Civil Discourse Club of the Villages, I'd like to welcome you to this podcast on how CDDs work, how do community development districts work, and what are they about. Today we're going to focus on sort of the wheres and whats, if you will, of CDDs. So where are these things that we call CDDs? Well, CDDs 1 through 4 are above Route 466. They constitute pretty much the historic part of the villages. CDDs 5 through 8 are between 466 and 466A. This was the expansion that took place with Lake Sumter Landing being created and a whole series of CDDs. CDDs 9 through 12, 9 through 11, are between 466 and Route 44. CDDs 12 and 13 are below Route 44. Now there's talk of a 10-year expansion plan that could add as many as 49,000 homes below Route 44. So we can envision a whole series of CDs coming online south of Route 44. Now, it's sort of an interesting thing to take somebody for a drive. If you go from Brownwood all the way back up to Spanish Springs, when I take visitors, I tell them it's an archaeological expedition, because you can see how houses are being built now, and particularly now if you go down to Fenney, you can see the newest style of homes, but you can follow back and kind of peel back the layers and see all the different styles of homes that were, and communities, surroundings, from here all the way back to Spanish Springs, even though there's a lot of architectural similarity and there's a real effort to maintain an overall harmonious architectural design. If you look here, the first CDD, CDD1, was established back in February of 1992. Now we're up to CDD 13, which was just authorized this past June of 2018. That's a 26-year span. What does a CDD look like? Well, I live in CDD 10. For example, we have almost 1,600 acres, around 6,600 homes. There's approximately 12,000 residents. And it's actually a pretty good-sized enterprise. If you were to look at our annual operating budget, it's about $3.2 million, and we actually manage $14 million in operating reserves. What does a CDD do? Well, if you've seen some of our other podcasts, you may recognize this slide. The real purpose of a CDD is to finance, construct, operate, and maintain infrastructure and services to its residents. So a CDD does many of the things that a municipal government, that a city or a town might do, but this focuses specifically on infrastructure. There's no police services involved, although we do have security, as you'll see in a second. So stormwater management, security and EMS, recreation facilities and services, sewer and wastewater management, special events, streetlights, all the sorts of things that you would normally look to a city or town council to provide. One of the most important things is, at the very beginning, when a CDD is basically just a cow pasture and they're going to turn it into a community, one of the most important things a CDD does is they raise the initial tax-exempt bonds, which will ultimately be sold to residents and used to finance the actual construction of the CDD that allows the community to be built. Now, there are two types of CDDs, actually three types in the villages. We have one dependent utilities district, that's NSCUD, and that is on Buena Vista Boulevard near Bailey Trail. We have 3 commercial CDDs, and at present we have 13 residential CDDs. Now the commercial CDDs provide services, at least the Village Center and Sumter Landing do. Brownwood, which is a commercial CDD, at this time is not providing services. You can think of these commercial CDDs as basically the commercial properties around the centers. So Village Center CDD is around Spanish Springs. Lake Sumter Landing CDD, commercial CDD, is the commercial property around Lake Sumter Landing. Now, both Village Center and Lake Sumter provide recreation facilities and services, water retention services, and executive golf. The country clubs are actually privately owned in the villages. Village Center CDD provides many of the services that were originated by the original developer: security, fire services, and emergency medical first response. Now, this is not ambulance service, that's provided by a private service, but this is the EMS response. Now, how do they pay for this? Well, the residential CDDs provide services, and they pay for them. Initially, they create it with the bonds, as we said, but they pay for the ongoing maintenance through the assessment of an annual maintenance fee. So you pay for the bonds in your annual assessment if you didn't buy them out when you closed. There's a line item in your annual tax assessment in the non-ad valorem tax that says bond assessment fee, and there's also a line that says annual maintenance assessment. So residential CDDs pay for their upkeep of their maintenance of their CDD infrastructure through the annual maintenance. The commercial CDDs, they collect the monthly amenity payment. And so often you'll hear people say, gosh, this seems like a lot of money to pay just to go to Eisenhower or Rohan or Laurel Manor. But the reality is that you're also getting security, fire, and EMS. So those costs are also rolled into the monthly amenity fee. So just a couple of quick concluding observations. You know, we talked about residential CDDs are all about infrastructure, and they collect the annual maintenance fees. Village Center and Lake Sumter are all about providing other types of services, and that includes fire and EMS. And then really security services and water management. So when you're paying your monthly amenity fee, there's more to it than just pickleball. I'm Frank Lancione on behalf of the Villages, the Civil Discourse Club of the Villages. Thank you for listening to this podcast.